believe in Jesus, guns, and babies.
This has been recorded in the beginning of Memorial Day weekend in 2022, after a tempestuous week of another mass shooting in the United States. I'm showcasing a selection, 15 to 20 albums that are that are downer albums, that are heartfelt albums, that influence these artists quite a bit. And this isn't supposed to be meant as a political statement. It's just at how music relates to real life situations, some personal. Obviously, in terms of the downsides, there's sometimes a loss of love, a loss of family, a loss of friendship. And these albums, for the most part, are very dear to me. And they're albums that you play sometimes at times like this. And, you know, some I like better than others. And I'm going to go through them rather quickly. That beginning clip you saw is a real clip of a politician running for office in the United States of America. And that's just one of many similar. Now, I will say what's frightening about that is, you know, the woman talking about, I believe in guns, babies, and Jesus. You know, they believe in guns. We have the Second Amendment. I understand that. We need sort of not to ban guns, which I wish we would, but that ain't going to happen at this point in this country, unfortunately, like some of the other countries that don't have this kind of mass shooting. And if they do, it's very, very a small amount and small like this. But just gun regulations, common sense regulations that a segment of politicians and the population just don't want, but the majority of Americans do want it. So, but she talks about, she believes in guns, okay, and babies, and Jesus. So really what she's talking about, you know, in the reality, what it comes down to is you get the gun, you shoot the children and the babies, and then you pray to Jesus and your thoughts and prayers about it, and you forgive yourself. And those thoughts and prayers resolve yourself of the reality of what you've done and what people have done. So I did show this when I had the conversation with my friend Ron, and this is the fine art of surfacing. And of course it opens up with, actually it doesn't open up, but one of the songs here that was their most famous in this country is I Don't Like Mondays. And that was about a rare case of a 16-year-old woman, young girl, who shot some kids and adults in his school playground in San Diego, California. And it's the irony. It's a magnificent, beautiful song with a gorgeous piano, like somewhat of an arpeggio that keeps revolving. And pointed out in the comments on that conversation with Ron video about the Boomtown Rats, had many more singles in the UK and hits, including Rat Trap. That's sort of a reminiscent of Bruce Springsteen stylistically in a way. So songs of love and hate, a little more personal. Now, Leonard Cohen is someone, I mean, I love all his records, and this is one of his best records, in my opinion. You know, Joan of Arc speaks the truth, and she's branded a witch. Last year's Man Avalanche, Leonard Cohen. Life Will Kill Ya. This, in a way, is more of a personal journey, and the irony of this is he wrote these songs before he was sick with cancer and before he was dying. But it has that feeling of doom and gloom. I was in the house when the house burned down. Life Will Kill Ya. Hostage, Oh. Dirty Little Religion. My Shit's Fucked Up. Don't Let Us Get Sick, Warren Zevon. This is a 2000 release, fantastic record. The last records were more intimate and more personal that he did, and I really enjoyed this one. Now, this is for obvious reasons. One of my favorite soundtracks is Apocalypse Now, the Francis Ford Coppola film from 1979. The electronic helicopters they did digitally with Moog synthesizer electronics that Pat Gleason worked on, and Paul Beaver and Krauss, and of course leads into songs by The Doors. as well as some dialogue from the film. But I mean, talk about a bleak down the river, based on Joseph Conrad book as well. So Apocalypse Now would fit right in for this weekend. The final studio Smiths album, Strange Ways, Here We Come. Strange Ways actually was named after a Manchester prison. This is a different album for the Smiths, a little less jingle jangle, except maybe the tacked on single, Girlfriend in a Coma. This is the American issue. I believe it's the same as the UK. I could be wrong on that. Paint a Vulgar Picture. Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loved Me. Death of a Disco Dancer. Stop me if you think you've heard this one before. That's what we're talking about. The same revolving stories. Nothing's done. We've heard this story over and over again. The Smiths, their final studio album. Unknown Pleasures. Dark album, again from Manchester, Joy Division's album, on the eve of Ian Curtis hanging himself before the eve of their first American tour. Dark album, beautiful album. I mean, percussive and just a wonderful record, and an important record, of course. Peter Seville took this and inverted this image for the great cover concept that's been, parodied and duplicated so many times. The first Factory record, as I recall. Someone else will correct me if I'm wrong. The Cramps, Bad Music for Bad People. I mean, what a scary, kind of out there, funny cover. I do enjoy this record, cowpunk at its best. A great band. When they would come through San Francisco, I saw them probably 3 times, I'd say. I Can Hardly Stand It. That kind of seems to be the perfect title of a song for what's going on right now and for this weekend. Now, the person I shared in my video, who is one of my all-time favorite American songwriters, and to me, cynical, sardonic. He gets to the point in a snarky manner, and that's, of course, Randy Newman. And this is Good Old Boys, really about the South. Now, Randy Newman, every summer, even though he's from Los Angeles, from the sort of a famous extended family of composers and musicians in Hollywood, composers, film score composers, the Alfred Newman, and David Newman, cousins, uncles, and everything. He spent some of his summers at a young age in Louisiana. It really takes on that persona in his vocal patterns and his songwriting. This is an amazing record about America, 74 actually, early 70s, mid 70s. The song Rednecks, about Lester Maddox on a TV show, and of course, an amazing song. It's amazing he got away with using the N-word in that song, but it's done the manner, if you know the song, it's necessary, and it's coming from the point of view of these rednecks, in a way, parts of it. We're rednecks, we don't know our ass from a hole in the ground, which is kind of what we're going through in America to some extent now. And again, I know some out there will say it's that regional snobbery of West Coast of looking down on the South. That's not what this is about. The whole world has changed. The United States has changed. It's not all just these pockets of, and this shouldn't be an issue about that, but it relates of this sense of not believing what's happening, the reality of what's happening. Have your other opinions, fine. Have your other takes on social and issues, fine. But believe the truthisms, and then we go from there. Then we discuss things. Mr. President, Have Pity on the Working Man. What a fantastic album. Maybe my second favorite Randy Newman album after Sail Away. Julian Cope from Teardrop Explodes starts putting out some intimate albums as a solo artist, then makes this masterpiece. And this is Piggy's Suicide. And this is a double album where he throws it all in. His disbelief in God, his anti-religion, his pro-environmental stance, his women's rights and women's right to choose. This is one gorgeous, intense, psychedelic, dirgy masterpiece, a dark album, but a very rich album, amongst my favorites, but it's, somewhat of an apocalyptic album as well, and I just love this album. East Easy Rider, Promised Land, Soldier Blue, Beautiful Love, Western Front, 1992, Not Raving, But Drowning, Julian Cope, Peggy Suicide, a masterpiece. Now I slag this album a lot because I get a little tired of Roger Waters' voice, but I won't deny the how magnificent this record is. I get a little tired of his voice was thinning and his kind of screaming on it. I'm not usually one that says an album should be cut down. Obviously, it misses the point if you cut it down, so I get that. But musically, my musical enjoyment is would be better having a lot of this stuff stripped away. But just the intensity of this, and one of these anti-Margaret Maggie Thatcher periods in a way. Someone actually pointed out in the last Ron video, because we were slagging on Thatcher, and a lot of comments were about Thatcher and mentioning other songs of the time that slagged on Thatcher, saying we were being misogynist. It wasn't about this person just because she's a woman. We weren't attacking her for her femininity or non-femininity or womanhood. We're attacking her for politics, her policies. But this is an historically important album, obviously. Not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination, but it is an intense album. But there's some, there's beauty in it as well. So Pink Floyd's The Wall, again, right in that pocket of storytelling. David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. David Bowie really wanted to do an Orwellian album about 1984 and apparently couldn't get the rights to from the Orwell estate. So this is his version. This is a reissue with the undoctored, unretouched cover showing creature genitalia. Guy Pillard did the cover, also did the Rolling Stones' It's Only Rock and Roll, this amazing painting, a dark painting. Obviously, future legend, Diamond Dogs, Rebel Rebel, We Are the Dead, 1984, Big Brother, Chant of the Ever-Circling Skeletal Family. This is probably his darkest album next to his final closing album when he was dying. But this is about this, again, this apocalyptic end of things, of times of book burnings and of Big Brother and, scary time right now in so many ways. And this album to me is a must inclusion in this video. Of course, because of the Vietnam War and the protests and post-civil rights, what was happening in America, late 60s and early 70s, it's really wonderful that Marvin Gaye made this album. We just hit the 50th anniversary of What's Going On. This is a dark album, but it's a beautiful record. This is the Kevin Gray new cut. Highly recommended in America. There's a whole issue of the cut. That's the version that's being released in Europe is not the Kevin Gray cut, even though it says it on the hype sticker. So be careful there. Has a second disc of the second disc is digital, but I'm not going to get into the details there. That's more singles and outtakes. But What's Going On, What's Happening, Brother, Save the Children. Save the Children is a song that everyone should be playing this week. We're not saving the children. We don't seem to care about the children. We care about them when they're not even alive, when they're an embryo. And once they're born, it doesn't matter. We can pray for them, but killing them, nothing changes. So that's the reality, unfortunately, that's going on right now. But an important album. This is an album everyone should have in their collection. Another dark album that, to me, for me, was my one of my probably exposures to Prague and the Court of the Kings and Crimson King by King Crimson, with the wonderful vocals of Greg Lake and 20th Century Schizoid Man, Epitaph, I Talk to the Wind, Moonchild, Court of the Crimson King, The Return of Fire Witch and the Dance of the Puppets. Obviously, the original Fripp, MacDonald, Greg Lake, Michael Giles, and Peter Sinfield. This is a must again in any collection. Like a Prague masterpiece. To me, this is when the whole concept, the whole genre of Prague shines. And this cover alone just is frightening right now. I picked this original promo copy, Road to Ruin, Obvious Reasons. I want to be sedated, go mental. That's another thing. You know, Governor Abbott of Texas, at the press conference, they were all talking about what's wrong? How does this happen? How can we stop this? It's all about mental health. It's all about mental health. And yes, America has a mental health problem, as the world does, and we're not fixing that either. And that's, you know, leads to homelessness and a lot of other issues in this country and around the world. Mental health is probably the number one issue. And another viewer last time pointed out, the opioid crisis, drug smuggling, you know, drugs in America is horrible. It's killing too many people and too much addiction. And some of it has to do with the pharmacy companies. Again, I'm ranting there, but, you know, I think Memorial Weekend is a time that we really need to think about everyone, not just in this country. Memorial Day is about remembrance of the soldiers we lost in all the wars that America's been involved with. And we should. But the wars on school grounds, there's a war in shopping malls, there's a war in churches and synagogues where people are getting mowed down. They are, in a way, the soldiers as well, and we should remember them and go mental and bad brain. What more can I say right there? It's the end of the world as we know it. From Document, finest work song, Welcome to the Occupation, Exhume McCarthy, Disturbance at the Heron House. One of my favorite REM records when they were on IRS before the whole big switch to Warner Brothers, which I like too. Now, this is about the music and the albums, but it's when artists are writing about real things. Now, some of it's personal, some of it is just getting a clever song title or a twist on words and writing about something. But artists have spoken up and they continue to speak up, and that's what this showcase is about. So Document, probably an important record from REM. This one, I mean, this is where we are right now. Carnage. Every week, every other week, carnage in America. Carnage in schools, carnage in church, carnage in shopping malls, carnage at venues, concert venues. This is what's happening right now. This is the first album that's not a soundtrack that is credited to Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. I saw this tour they completed, and it was fantastic. It was like a revival meeting, but the spirituality. He writes about sex. He writes about violence. He writes about angels. The song Hand of God is a preachy song, but he's not a God-waving evangelist in essence. He's, you know, bringing the spiritual side out, but the reality. So he's not a Jesus freak, but he talks about it a lot. And Jesus or any other, or Muhammad or Krishna, can be in anyone's belief and religion, but don't go pushing that shit on anyone else. Carnage, White Elephant, Lavender Fields, Shattered Ground, and Balcony Man. Beautiful cover design, just typeface. Carnage. I mean, this is what's happening right now. This is where we are right now in this country. And lastly, not so much of a doom and gloom, but in a way, a mockery of the political elections, and this was done in 2012. And this is Ry Cooder's. I'm ending with this Ry Cooder election special. I can bring this out every election year. Every 2 years we have an election. Every 4 years we have a presidential election. It seems so quaint now that he has a song, opens up a song, Mutt Romney's Blues, Mutt Romney Blues, and Mitt Romney seems so normal and so calm compared to what we went through the last 6 years, last presidential cycle. But Ry Cooder is one of these artists that does, as much as he does his beautiful international collaborations, Buena Vista, Indian music, Cuban music, so many other great, Tex-Mex, Mexican. He comes out when he puts his politics on his sleeve as well, and I really appreciate that. These great artists, again, from Woody Guthrie to Bob Dylan to Ry Cooder to Randy Newman to, so many artists I respect when there's something that needs to be said, they come out and say it. Going to Tampa, Kool-Aid, the 90 and the 90, take your hands off it. Guantanamo, the Wall Street part of town, and Brother is Gone, Ry Cooder's election special. This was on Non-Such Records. So it's Memorial Day. Let's remember the soldiers. Let's remember the children. Let's remember all the people we've lost. Remember our family members and our friends we've lost through our lives. And it's not about having 20% or 50% off sales this weekend. It's about a remembrance, and it's about these times we're in. So thanks for watching, and I really appreciate this. I wish more people, even in the vinyl community, would speak up, once in a while. You don't have to do it all the time. I have a lot of videos. Once in a while, when things are going on like this, I will speak up, and I will continue to. But I do appreciate the comments and the support. And, even if you don't agree, state your political differences. I have no problem with that. But the facts and not conspiracies. Mazzy loves you. And vote this year and every year.